Having a movie theater in your home can seem like something only for the rich and famous. But even if you aren't rich or famous, a movie theater experience in the comfort of your home is amazing. And it's starting to be an idea that won't cost you an arm and a leg. And it's one of the things that I've been looking more into here on this YouTube channel is how can you get something like 80% of the home theater experience without having to spend your life savings to get it. And that's where Valerion's new StreamMaster Plus 2 projector comes in. It works with Apple Home and has built-in Google TV with a processor powerful enough to make it snappy. And it has a triple laser for 4K projection that supports most modern movie standards like Dolby Vision and IMAX Enhanced. Whether you're interested in the StreamMaster Plus 2 because you're new to projectors or you just want to save some money over more expensive models, where does this projector shine as a great value? And where is Valerion maybe cutting some features you might want in order to keep the price down? And thanks to Valerion for sending me this projector and screen free of charge with no strings attached. This video is not sponsored and they're seeing the video at the same time you are. If you're new here, I'm Eric Welander. I've been working in app development on top of Apple's platforms since 2011 and building out my smart home here on YouTube since 2018. So if you're into Apple or smart home tech, consider subscribing. The StreamMaster Plus 2 is part of Valerion's new line of long throw projectors. And if you haven't heard of Valerion yet, their CES booth this year got a lot of attention. The company started in 2024 as an offshoot of the ultra short throw projector company AWOL Vision. Valerion has been releasing some projectors that are packed with lots of features, including some stuff I've been wanting in projectors for years at prices that are more attainable. This all comes in part because of their choice of long throw as a projection style. Long throw is what you would think of as a traditional projector. These projectors sit further away from the screen and generally give you the best image quality for the money. But you might be wondering, how far away does a long throw projector need to be in order to project a certain size screen? And that's where the key spec of throw ratio becomes really important. The StreamMaster Plus 2 has a throw ratio of 1.2 to 1. This means for a 100-inch screen, you ideally want to be something around 8 to 9 feet away from the screen. The projector is rated to go up to a 300-inch screen if you have the space. One detail that differentiates this model from Valerion's higher-end Vision Master line is that the StreamMaster Plus 2 has a fixed lens projection distance. This means it can't physically adjust the lens like a camera zoom lens, which limits how the projector can shrink the image to fit within the borders of your screen on the wall. Without going off into too much of a tangent here, the way I understand it is that you aren't necessarily missing out on the resolution as much as just the crisp clarity of the projected image compared to a projector with zoom lenses when you have to adjust the size of the image. The important part to consider for installation though is you want to determine the optimal place to put your projector or the optimal place to hang it from the ceiling based on how big of a screen you want on your wall. Given I have small children, I wanted to hang this projector from the ceiling to keep it away from them. That meant attaching it to a beam in the ceiling, which is a little further away from the screen than I would generally like. That said, I was very impressed with the clarity of the picture despite my projector not being at the perfect distance for my screen size of 100 inches. And once you have the projector physically set up or installed is where one of the cool "it just works" features comes in really handy, where the projector uses a small camera on the front of it to auto-align the image with the frame on the wall where you want the picture to be. You can of course manually adjust the picture and keystoning if you want, but I don't think you'll need to worry about it. This automatic feature does a great job. Speaking of things you don't need to worry about, fan noise. Yes, there is some fan noise, and if you put your ear up to the projector, you can hear it. But in practice, I've never heard it when watching any kind of content. When I did a software update, I definitely did hear the fans spin up during that process, so they can kick on high if needed, but I have never heard that while watching something or playing video games. To put a number on it, the fan in normal mode is rated at 29 decibels by Valerion. Now that the projector is installed and fitted with the screen, which we'll talk more about in a minute, don't forget to wire up your audio system. And for this, I'm using the Sonos Arc Ultra soundbar paired with a Sonos Sub Mini and two rear Era 100s for surround. I love Sonos because it gives you a cinema level Dolby Atmos sound without needing to worry about a receiver and all kinds of other complexity. Now, coming from using an ultra short throw projector, wiring up audio and other components was one of the biggest changes. Ultra short throw projectors sit right below the screen, which means cables to the soundbar, Apple TV, game consoles, or whatever else don't have to run very far. But when you move your projector out into the room, the cables need to stretch that distance. Thankfully, I have a drop ceiling, which made this far easier than some scenarios for running cables. I connected my Stream Master Plus 2 to my Sonos Arc Ultra by running a 25-foot HDMI eARC cable. I tried a couple different HDMI cables and lengths before I found one that actually worked well, carrying the eARC signal over that kind of distance. I'll link the one I found in the description below if you're curious. When looking at any projector, you should consider the brightness and contrast of the image. The brighter the image, the easier it is to see, especially with sunlight or lights on in the room. This projector outputs 2000 ISO lumens of brightness with a 10,000 to 1 contrast ratio, which is great, but not necessarily enough brightness to see the image well with the lights on. This is where the smart home automations can actually come in super handy, which we'll talk about in a minute. Another key part of the brightness to consider is the screen. Valerian sent me a matte white screen that works fine, but it's not adding to the projector's gain of brightness. Projector screens could be a topic for a whole series of other videos that other channels on YouTube will probably cover more than mine. What you should understand today is just that your screen is something you should consider over time for your setup in order to get everything you can out of your projector. The matte white screen I tested costs $300 for a 100-inch size, and I think that it's a really good option to match this projector and price point for the Stream Master Plus 2. But you can connect any kind of device into the HDMI 2.1 ports or the HDMI 2.0 eARC port on this projector. It also has a really nice onboard Google TV experience. The big difference you'll see with this compared to many TVs out there is that Valerian gave this projector a good processor and RAM to run Google TV. They tout all this in their marketing material, and I will say it's noticeable. The animations are smooth and it feels nice to use with the included remote, just like an Apple TV would. All of this is built into the TV's operating system, and as far as TV operating systems go, I really like Google TV. You can remove or hide things you don't want to see, and if you don't ever want to use Google TV, you can just change the setting to resume your last input on the TV. That said, I think you might find streaming content straight from the projector to be really nice. I mean, it's called the Stream Master after all. Now, I am far from the coolest gamer on YouTube, but this projector can do a 4 millisecond response time at 1080p resolution at 240 Hz over HDMI 2.1 and a 15 millisecond response time for 4K at 60 Hz. A projector is not going to be how you'd want to play ultra competitive gaming, but being able to put your games on a big screen is really cool, and it would be a great way to play with friends in person. One of my favorite features of this projector is how it can talk to your smart home with Apple Home, Google Home, Amazon Alexa, or Control 4. Given I'm into Apple Home, I added it to my smart home where it appears as any television would. You can toggle the power and control the inputs, and it's nice to be able to set these details in something like a smart home scene. Alternatively, you can run automations based on the projector turning on and off. I have an automation set that whenever I turn the projector on, it turns off the lights in that part of the room to help get the best picture quality. Then when the projector turns off, the lights turn to 30% brightness to help move on after we're done watching. This works perfectly when I use my Apple TV, which turns the projector off via HDMI CEC. But when I'm using the built-in Google TV, it puts the projector into some kind of a sleep mode and doesn't signal to Apple Home that it's turned off. I tried to play with different options of power management to get this to change, but I can't seem to figure it out with the Google TV side working with Apple Home. This projector also has AirPlay 2 built in, as well as Chromecast. I tend to use AirPlay 2 when watching YouTube videos from my iPad on the big screen, and it was solid for that. But Overall, I'm not a heavy user of this feature, so I didn't play with it too much. I mostly play my content from apps either built into my Apple TV or the Google TV on the projector. I also had some issues with this projector randomly turning on, but after a lot of investigation, I think it's an issue with my Apple TV and some different remote devices that were paired to that erroneously turning on or triggering an AirPlay session, and it wasn't related to the projector at all. But again, it's something that, well, I think it wasn't related to the projector at all. I did experience it during this review and I wanted to call it out here. And adjusting some of my AirPlay and other remote device settings seemed to fix my problems. But all this troubleshooting did delay the video a little bit. So in conclusion, is this Valerian Stream Master worth your money? Well, I think it's a really good option. Sure, it's not going to be the latest and greatest projector on the market, but you're getting solid 4K picture quality at a fraction of the price of fancier projectors. Plus, if you watch this channel, having a projector that talks to your Apple Home is a great benefit for automations around your new smart home theater. While I haven't tried Valerian's higher end projectors, at least at this point, I think the biggest difference is the lack of flexibility to get a good picture. The Vision Master or higher end series has the enhanced zoom lenses and more brightness as well as more contrast, and these will get you a better picture in more lighting conditions, but at probably double the cost. And thanks to this YouTube channel, my family's had a chance to have a home theater set up in our home with different projectors for about a year now. And as parents of small children, it's great to be able to have a date night at home watching a show on a streaming service, or to have a family movie night with the kids. I wouldn't have believed the idea at first, but home theaters are way more attainable than I would have thought, and the value is really there, even if, like me, you aren't someone who watches TV all the time. Each individual experience of this home theater makes it special and worth it, in my opinion. Measure out your space, plan for some time running cables and setting up the screen, but at the end of all of that, I think getting a Stream Master Plus 2 would be a great center to a sweet new smart home theater that your family and friends can enjoy for years to come. If you want to hear more about my home theater sound, I have a video on the screen here about my experience using the Sonos Arc Ultra as part of my home theater. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and consider subscribing for free if you aren't already. Thanks again so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.